The thing Dunk has to prove, he's a knight. But is he really? First, before I put my 2 cents into the topic, let's discuss what those that worked on the show had to say on it. Showrunner for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Ira Parker, was asked this question, and this is how he responded. It's long, so prepare yourself. He said, "You know, I think hopefully the bigger question we asked from that is, what does it really matter? If he was or he wasn't, the official ceremony of saying, you know, I pass on this knighthood to someone else, a knight making another knight, or a king making another knight, is that what makes a good knight? I think Dunk has a very interesting set of experiences in his life, and obviously that has been corralled by Sir Arlen and Penetry for a decade now. It's not like it's an easy thing to do. It's not like anyone can just stand up and say, I'm a knight, here we go. You need things. You need horses. You need armor. You need to be able to fight. These guys are professional fighters. You know, this is a guy who plays some basketball with his friends after school, all of a sudden dropping into a tryout for the Lakers, and it's like, oh, yeah, right, that's why people don't do that very often, because they're all going to get speared by Lionel Baratheon. Hopefully what people take away from this first season, that's Sir Arlen, he just tried to be a benefit to the people around him. I think that's ultimately hopefully what it comes down to. Whether or not you have the name and the arms and the armor, you don't even have to be a good person. You don't even have to be a moral person. But if you try and help out in the immediate vicinity, you don't have to go off and change the entire course of history in the realm. You just have to help the guy next to you that's struggling at the moment. And I think Dunk, as we will see, sort of takes that as his guiding light. And you know, maybe he gets him in a little bit of trouble. After hearing that answer, it really does sound like Ira is leaning towards the idea that Sir Arlen may never have actually knighted Dunk, and that's not a fringe theory, that's a theory a lot of book readers have held for years. Because when you go back to the Hedge Knight and read it carefully, George does something very sneaky. He never shows us the knighting. He never has Dunk remember it. He never lets Dunk think about it. And for a guy whose entire identity depends on being a knight, that's weird. Very weird. Dunk remembers Sir Arlen teaching him how to fight. He remembers grooming horses. He remembers sleeping in ditches. He remembers carrying shields, cooking meals, fixing armor. He remembers 10 years of life with Sir Arlen, but he never remembers the moment he was made a knight. Not once. Not in passing, not in memory, not in a dream, not in a single line of internal thought. And George is not sloppy with point of view, especially not with Dunk, whose thoughts we live inside for the entire story. So you have to ask, why is the most important moment of Dunk's life missing from his memories? And then George does something even more suspicious. Dunk lies. Immediately. The very first time someone questions him. When Raymond Fossaway asks him who knighted him, Dunk says, Sir Arlen of Penetry. But notice what he doesn't say. He doesn't say when. He doesn't say where. He doesn't describe it. He doesn't think about it afterward. He just gives the answer like someone repeating a line they've practiced. And then he changes the subject. Later, when Prince Baelor asks him directly if he truly is a knight, Dunk hesitates, and George writes a line in a way that should make every reader's alarm bells go off. I am a knight, Dunk said. Not yes, my prince, not of course, not I swear it. Just a statement, careful, measured, like he's convincing himself. There's also the practical problem. Sir Arlen dies suddenly from illness on the road. Dunk buries him. No witnesses, no septon, no ceremony, no one to confirm anything. If Arlen never knighted him before that moment, Dunk would have had a choice to make. Walk away from the life he trained for 10 years to live, or step into it anyway. And this is where the story gets brilliant, because if Dunk was never knighted, then every single honorable thing he does in this story, he does without the title. He defends Tansel, he stands up to Aerion, he demands trial by combat, he risks his life for strangers, not because he is a knight, but because he believes in what a knight should be. And that is exactly what Ira's quote is getting at. What does it really matter? Because George's point is that the truest knight in the entire story might be the only one who was never actually knighted, while the real officially anointed knights, Aerion, the Fossaways, the tourney champions, are cruel, petty, or selfish. Dunk, the hedge knight, the nobody, the maybe fraud, is the only one living the code, which leads to the uncomfortable possibility. Sir Arlen didn't forget to knight Dunk. He may have deliberately not done it, because Arlen knew something Dunk didn't yet understand. Knighthood isn't a ceremony, it's a test, and Dunk is still in it. And the final piece of evidence, Dunk never swears an oath in the book. Not once. We never hear the words, because George doesn't want us to know if he ever said them. He wants us to ask the same question Baelor asks. Are you a true knight, sir? And Dunk's entire life becomes the answer. So was Duncan the Tall actually knighted before Sir Arlen died? The honest answer is, George doesn't want us to know, because the uncertainty is the point. And by the end of the story you realize, it doesn't matter. Dunk proves he's a knight long before anyone ever has to say the words.